Welcome to another Sunday from Daishu-in West. This is Koju. It's a beautiful, beautiful weather. It's been wonderful all week. A little spooky. It does look like it's going to be a very long and dry fire season in 2026. It's really pleasant, but we need the rain. So we get a little bit, we get an inch or so this week, but we'll see. We'll see. But no helping the weather, of course. Master Obaku says, the sole concern is that by the arising of mind, you students of the way will isolate yourselves from it. From moment to moment, no form. From moment to moment, no doing. This is to be a Buddha. Students of the way, if you wish to become a Buddha, it is totally useless to study doctrine. Only study being without seeking and without attachment. When there is no seeking, mind is not born. When there is no attaching, mind is not destroyed. Not born, not destroyed. This is itself Buddha. The 84,000 Dharma gates counter the 84,000 delusions, but these are only tools for encouraging practice. Fundamentally, none of them have any reality. Non-attachment is itself the Dharma, and one who knows this is Buddha. Not attaching to any delusion, there is no Dharma to be attained. So this is the second half of Blofeld's 13th section. We have Master Obaku exhorting us to not only relinquish attachment to manifestation and form itself, but actually he's emphasizing here to not get attached to the Dharma itself, the quote-unquote Dharma itself. There isn't really anything to grab a hold of anyway. That doesn't prevent us from trying, which is why we have a hard time, because we're trying to fix a nail in empty space, right? And it's futile, and sometimes we, through our machinations, we succeed for a short time, but inevitably it's revealed that it was just a nail in empty space, and we are disappointed, and it is frustrating and painful. So not seeking, not trying to hang a nail in empty space is not, he's saying here, is not giving rise to mind or mind being born. Not seeking. And then as things pass away, as they're revealed to be transient, not attaching to them and letting them go. Mind is not destroyed. It moves freely. The next isness arises naturally. It's in the clinging to it that naturalness is lost, destroyed. So in that constant play of arising and passing away, or that arising and passing away is itself Buddha. He says, not born, not destroyed. This is itself Buddha. Not in that arising. That's not a correct or a good way to put it on my part. It isn't in that arisingness and the arising and the passing away are the same thing. In that isness, that constant isness, creativeness, knowingness, is itself Buddha. And being in that way, moment to moment, no seeking, moment to moment, no doing. To not be attached to form. It doesn't mean we're inactive or we're not engaged, we're not participating in that isness constantly arising and passing away. We might appear to be very, very active, but fundamentally, at the root of it, everything is completely still. There's no movement. There's no change. There's no anything. There's just isness. Although it might appear to be Koju and Rie and the plants and the trees and all the things that arise and pass away together. All of that comes from a well, or partakes of a well of absolute stillness and tranquility. By attaching to it or seeking it, by that volitional activity, that confused volitional activity, we in fact separate ourselves from it. Which is not to say, and he indulges us a little bit here, where he says the 84,000 Dharma gates are opposed to or counter the 84,000 delusions. Nitaishte. They're against, or they are for, they counter, I think is how I put it, and I think that's pretty good. But they are only tools for encouraging practice, or I think Blofeld has words to draw us towards the gate, or something of that nature. And we know about delusion. We know about indulging ourselves in fantasy, and getting stuck in stuff. And recognizing those problems, we naturally seek solutions. And there are solutions. The Buddha taught the 84,000 Dharma gates for a reason, because they're solutions to those delusions. It's a way, it's a medicine to an illness. But when the illness is cured, the medicine isn't useful anymore. You don't keep taking the medicine after the illness is cured, right? You stop. There's no reason to carry something called Buddhism around, something called the Dharma around, because it's the best medicine against illnesses that don't work or that aren't existent anymore. There's nothing wrong with using the medicine in the way it's supposed to be used to treat an illness. But if you keep using the medicine after the illness is cured, then you become sick. So it's put away. As long as we're troubled or confused or occupied or stuck in, attached to a delusion, the idea of myself, the idea of life being a particular way, or needing particular things or particular requirements or on life, then naturally we hear about no self, and we hear about stepping outside the little box that we call I and entering into the wider world. And this is a way of drawing us towards the gate, as Blofeld says, encouraging practice, a tool for encouraging practice. But when the illness is cured, you put the medicine aside. Otherwise, you become sick. You attach to this idea of Dharma, of Buddhism, of becoming something different or special or whatever it is. And he goes so far as to say non-attachment is itself the Dharma. And not attaching to any delusion, there is no Dharma to be attained. Because what could there be? There is no joy more joyous than non-seeking. Well, that's good enough. When there is no seeking, mind is not born. When there is no attaching, mind is not destroyed. I think this has to be deeply, deeply savored. Before there is the arising of the idea of myself in the context of this life, where could you put your foot? Where could you stand? What is that knowingness? Or to put it the opposite way, when we try and hang that nail in empty space, when we try and fixate on something, do we see how we actually destroy, how we actually commit violence against that which is naturally occurring perfectly, always? Mind, he calls it that mind destroyed. When there is no attaching, mind is not destroyed. When there is attaching, it's I don't think it's an exaggeration to say it has a kind of a violent quality, because we're hooked, we're into it. So this is the phrase that, when looking at it, and I didn't quite, it hit me in a different way than it did with Blofeld's translation. I don't remember off the top of my head what he says, but when there is no seeking, mind is not born. When there is no attaching, mind is not destroyed. I think he says something about it being implied. When there is no seeking, it implies mind being not, or something like that, which doesn't quite have the same impact, I think. When there is no seeking, mind is not born, period. When there is no attaching, mind is not destroyed. So this is the phrase that I have been reflecting on myself this last week, and I hope that you take it to heart and consider it yourself. Okay. Arigatou gozaimasu. So next week, same time, same station. In 2 weeks from today, we have Daiju's memorial ceremony, and I will not be doing a talk that day. If you're interested in coming and attending, we'll start Sesshin. That Sunday's the 12th, and we'll start Sesshin on the 14th. So if you are new to the temple, that's a good time to come, because it's all the Sangha members, or many of the Sangha members, come and remember Daiju, and it's a good time to come and meet people. It doesn't matter if you didn't know him. It's fine. He would appreciate your interest. And then we have Sesshin shortly thereafter. So don't hesitate to get in touch. It's contact@daishuinwest.org. よろしくお願いします. Have a good week.